Right, shalom, shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Waharakah Kadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and honors to you brothers out there in the highways and the byways, teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. And in this video, I want to touch on central bank digital currencies again, just going back over that topic and how that plays into the system of the mark of the beast and the mark of the beast itself. Now, the mark of the beast, let's get that. It's a mark. Well, we just read it. Right. So Revelation 13 and 16 says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Okay, now the mark itself, we here at Great Millstone, we teach that that's going to be an implantable device, implantable RFID device that's going to contain your information, your identity, and through that you're going to be able to access the system to buy or sell. And if you don't have that, you won't be able to buy and sell. Okay, now in order to create a system like that, right, or to have a mark whereby no one can buy and sell without, you have to have a system in place or infrastructure in place for such a system. All right, now you got a lot of these Hebrew Israelite groups out there that's going off. They're telling you that the mark of the beast is sin. They're telling you the mark of the beast is white women and all this foolishness, yet they can't show the infrastructure being set up to support such a device. But we can show you, as we speak, the infrastructure being set up for the use of RFID chips for payments. Okay, in fact, that's already happening. Okay, now a part of this system, we believe, is the central bank digital currencies. All right, now I've got an article here that I'm going to read, and this is from Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum, which is one of them think tanks, that Esau uses to affect change in the world. So you have here, we'll read it. It says the first industrial revolution was water and steam power to mechanize production. The second used electric power to create mass production. The third used electronics and information to automate production. Right now, a fourth industrial revolution is building on the third. The digital revolution that has been occurring since the middle of the last century is characterized by a fusion of technologies that is blurring the lines between the physical, digital, and the biological spheres. So that's your IoT, your Internet of Things. That's your Internet of Bodies. Okay, and then you also have the Internet of Value, right, which is the financial system, which is where these CBDCs come into play, and certain other cryptocurrencies like XRP, Stellar, Lumens. They call them the ISO 2022. So yeah, you could look into that for the global payment system. That's called the Internet of Value. So you got the Internet of Value, you got the Internet of Things, right, and then you got the Internet of Bodies, all right, which encapsulates you into that system. All right, so it says blurring the lines between the physical, the digital, and the biological spheres. Right, so everything is going to be connected and interoperable and managed through this one system. Right, one digital system, and they have the technology to do that. Right now, what I want to show you is this article because I think it tied it together nicely. Central bank digital currencies and the Orwellian New World Order. Okay, the proposed authoritarian evolution of centrally issued digital currencies takes the world closer to dystopia. Right, that mark of the beast. Since central bank digital currencies have received increasing interest since Facebook's failed launch of the Libra and China's recent announcement that they are moving forward with the digital yuan after an early trial period. This is why we Bitcoin, okay? Because you got people under the illusion that Bitcoin is going to save them from the New World Order. Listen, man, if they wanted to, Bitcoin would go to zero today. Okay, anyway, because the damage, destruction, and inequality brought about by fiat money will only be magnified with the proliferation of CBDCs. And that's true, right? The CBDCs are going to allow them to control the masses much more efficiently than the old fiat currencies did. Even though the old fiat currencies are not pretty much 97% digitized, there's going to be a difference between the digital money we know now, i.e. when you know most of the money is just ones and zeros on a computer. There's only about 3% of it is physical cash. So most fiat currencies at the moment are pretty much digital already, and that's why you got these cashless payments going down, right? And they're planning on completely doing away with cash. All right, but these CBDCs goes further than just being digital money, and that's what the unlearned won't understand. CBDCs is programmable money, which is different to digital money, and this article is going to explain how and why this ties into the mark of the beast. It says, although some manifestations of the US dollar are already digital, there are inherent differences in what can be done with these new digital currencies. First, money can be time-based, and the issuer, i.e. the People's Bank of China in the case of the digital yuan, can set an expiration date for your money. So imagine that they have the powers. So right now, let's say you have some money in your account. Now we know about inflation. You know, someone could potentially steal the money, or you know, there could be inflation, so the money is being devalued. You know, all these things are things that can happen now. But what if the money in your account has an expiration date? So let's say you get paid by your workplace, right? And that money can be programmed that when it enters your account, you have to spend that money in your wallet within 7 days. They can do that with CBDCs, which they can't do with digital money right now efficiently, because it will be automatic. It literally would be programmed into the money to interact that way. Okay, so that's one of the major differences. The money can be programmed with all these rules, but there's no limit to it, and there would be nothing you could do about it, because the money would inherently be like that. What they call money anyway. It says money can also be fine-tuned to be sector-based, meaning that it can be designated to only be spent in certain sectors or stores. So imagine that you could receive this CBDC, this digital currency, and that digital currency, not only could it be given an expiration date, but the money itself, they can say where you can spend it, when you can spend it, and what you can spend it on, depending on how that money was issued. Do you understand? Yeah, total control. Okay, and they're already setting this up. That's why they're causing. That's what it's called. Order ab chaos. The Bible tells you we are not ignorant to the devices of Satan. Right. One of the biggest things that is being talked about right now is inflation, and all of a sudden everybody's finding out about the printing press and how money is being printed and the stimulus is printing and inflation. There's no mistake that they're talking about this in the mainstream media, because they're going to use inflation as a reason why they need to bring in these CBDCs. They're going to say, oh, you know what, the system as it is, all of a sudden they're going to realize that it's not fair that the money is being printed and being given to the banks, and the banks are making, they're going to say, look, this new system with the CBDCs, we can get you the money directly, and we can control inflation by putting in expiry dates on the money, and that will stop you from losing the value. And they're going to give you all the good talk, but ultimately what they're doing is getting you to receive money that's programmable with their own sets of rules and regulations. You see, order ab chaos, and that's the mark of the beast. All right, because all they got to do is chip you then and tie your digital identity into that chip and your wallet and these CBDCs, and they got you controlled. And that's what they want. Money can also be fine-tuned to be sector-based, meaning it can be designated to be only spent in certain sectors or stores, right? So if they're controlling this money, another thing they can do is, if you notice, the shortages are increasing in the world. So if you wanna control produce, they can actually design the money where you can only buy a certain amount of a particular product. That's another way that they can control this system. And with interoperability, basically these CBDCs can interoperate with other blockchains and other systems of supply chain, so that they can literally design a system where it rations out goods. So if you go and try and buy something, you might not be able to buy it because you've already meet your quota of that particular supply. Okay, that's how deep the technologies go right now, and it's called interoperability. So they can have these CBDCs and the ledgers that these CBDCs operate on actually working with other cryptocurrencies and other blockchains and other software in order to manage the whole system. Yeah, trust me, these devils know exactly what they're doing. Okay. It says, finally, China has already implemented a draconian social credit score system, and that the digital one could end up tying into the social credit score system. So if again, through smart contracts, they can have it where you don't meet a particular social requirement, and for that reason, all the money in your wallet is burned. Yeah, it's burned, or you're restricted from doing this or restricted from doing that, and you wouldn't be able to do it because even if you got the money in your account, the money won't allow you to do it. It won't allow the transaction to go through because you don't meet the rules, and it will be automatic, so that the guy at the checkout won't be able to do nothing for you because it's all automatically automated within the system because the money's programmed that way. Okay. It says, for centralized governments, CBDCs have huge benefits over both the current fiat system and the decentralized neutral currency. However, that is not the case for the sovereign individual. All right, because these CBDCs basically mean these elites, the beast, having more control over you than they already do, taking away the little freedoms that you think you have. With CBDCs, the central government has the ability to attach an expiration date to the money. Following the economic shutdowns of 2020, many people questioned whether the stimulus payments would circulate into the real economy or whether they'd just stay on the sidelines as savings or debt payments. Enter CBDCs. What's it called? Problem Reaction Solution. The US Federal Reserve initial interest in a CBDC was a way to influence the velocity of money. When the US government granted stimulus payments to its citizens to keep the economy afloat, there was no guarantee that the recipients would use them as the government intended. And so you saw the news where people were taking their stimulus money and going to the strip club or whatever, and just spending it on stupidness, and they made that into an issue. Well, what if you can program the money where you couldn't do that? What if you could program the money with an expiry date and they could only spend it on food in Walmart, in their local area, within their postcode? You could do that you could do that. They have the technology to do that, where you could be tied down to spend the particular money that's in your wallet at a particular store or within a particular postcode. Yeah. You could be banned from transferring it to particular people. Those payments were meant to help people who lost jobs make ends meet and otherwise keep the economy moving. Saving that money for a rainy day, paying off debt, and investing it all run counter to the desires of the government that desires inflation. The US government, along with most governments around the world, is in tremendous amount of debt, and all this point, the only solution for a government as indebted as the United States is inflation. Inflation is often sold as a necessity for the economy, with its proponents insisting that it goes hand in hand with economic growth. It increases the prices of goods and services but comes with the benefit of a more productive economy that produces more of those goods and services. In reality, the only reason why inflation is necessary is because without it, the government would be unable to meet its debt obligations. Politicians would not be re-elected because they would fail to provide the handouts on which they campaigned, but more importantly, the government and global reserve currency would default, causing untold levels of economic damage worldwide. So the government's desire for inflation drives the desire for money to which they can add an expiration date, right? And this is just all a ruse to get people to sign on to these CBDCs and the chip. And once they've switched the system over to these CBDCs and the chip, it's a wrap, because now you're going to be at the mercy of them, as it is written that no man might buy or sell. You ain't going to be able to buy or sell without the correct program on your money. Yeah, because there is going to be no more cash, and your normal digital money isn't going to be accepted anymore. Yeah, it's going to have to be this CBDC, the new dollar, whatever they're going to call it, or the new pound. And it's no mistake that all these central banks around the world have been working on these CBDCs. All right, the whole EU is setting up their CBDC. When inflation is the goal, money needs to be circulated quickly, and CBDCs allow for that. With programmable money, the central bank could issue money through some sort of helicopter money program, universal basic income stimulus, and require that the money be used by a certain date, or else it would simply vanish. That would prevent people from saving it and ensure that the money circulates into the economy. By adding money into the economy and removing the ability to save the money, the Federal Reserve could more easily achieve its inflation targets, thereby ensuring the desired destruction of our wealth at an average rate of 2% a year. Okay, but you see, it ain't. That's just gonna be the way that they introduce it. Ultimately, they don't care about inflation. They just want to get it into a situation where they can get you chipped, right, and they can have the programmable money, which is going to be interoperable with all these other systems that they're setting up, and so they can efficiently control what you buy, what you sell, and what you can do or what you can't do digitally using these systems, man. As it is written, Revelations 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. That's why the scripture says the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. Let's get that. Genesis 3:1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. Right? Now ultimately that's going into Esau Edom. He's that old serpent, man. And he's very slick, because if you look at what they're talking about, what they're complaining about on the mainstream media, right, it's playing into their hands. So by the time they come out with the CBDC, it's going to look like it's a solution. Look, we gotta get inflation under control. We gotta get the money to the right people quickly to save the economy. Oh, we got shortages, so all of a sudden, we need to now program there's too many people stockpiling and buying up the food, so now we need to program the money so that you can only buy a certain amount of each wallet can only buy a certain amount of goods. It's just a way of bringing in that control. It's programmable money, man. They understand they can program the money to do whatever they want to do or to do not automatically. Something automatically and more efficiently than they can now. Okay, and what you're gonna do? Because they're gonna demand that all businesses, that's gonna become basically the new legal tender, and all businesses are gonna have to operate. So your business is going to have a business wallet or an account so that you can operate in the system. Just like how the your business has a bank account, they're gonna switch it over from your normal bank account. Now you're gonna get your Federal Reserve digital currency wallet, which is gonna which will probably still be managed by your commercial bank, but now it's all tied in with the CBDC. So commercially, Visa, they're all gonna get on board. Trust me, Visa, PayPal, they're all gonna jump on board. They're all ready to jump on board. And once they jump on board, the system is gonna be locked in. So cash is gonna be done away with, because what's the point of cash anyway? Only 3% of money is cash. They're gonna do away with the cash. They're gonna end up doing away with all the rest of the city digital money that's not programmable, and just replace it with the CBDCs using airdrops. These devils think they're slick, all right, but ultimately they're not going to be able to chip the elect, because the elect were forewarned and the elect have been redeemed by Yahweh Shai. So we won't be joined on to Esau using this mark. That's what the mark of the beast is all about. It's all about joining yourself onto Esau. We've been joined to another. Okay, so Esau, the Lord is not going to allow him to chip the elect. So he could do all this what he want to do, but in the end it's going to fail. It's going to fall short. Job 5:12, he disappointeth the devices of the crafty, because they've been very crafty. Because when this cryptocurrency thing came out with Bitcoin, they sold it to these morons, these Bitcoin maxis and all these idiots, that cryptocurrency and blockchain means the freedom of their people. Nah, listen, these elites, they control the development of all these new technologies. Okay, the cryptocurrency and all these like EOS and algo. If you look at the World Economic Forum, they just came out and endorsed a whole bunch of these things. All right, Ethereum and all this stuff, that they're gonna have their part in the new world order, man, and be interoperability with these CBDCs. These CBDCs are gonna come in, and any of these blockchains systems that can be used in to control the people is going to be incorporated, and the rest are going to be binned, and that's going to be the bottom line. And that's what it always was meant to be. All right, but they lied to the people and gave them hope and made them think that the cryptos and all that was gonna deliver them from their overlords. Nah, that's just stupid. Okay, these you think these men don't know about new technologies as they come out? They've done been in the space. Anyway, Job 5:12, he disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Right, and that enterprise, that success, is to achieve the complete dominance over all things on earth using their technology, man, using the mark of the beast and the rest of the system. The internet of bodies, the internet of things, the internet of value. So yeah, I just wanted to read that article and just show brothers the difference, man. When you hear them talking, for years we've been talking about digital money, but understand that the digital money as it is now is not the end game. The end game is digital money that is programmable. Okay, and that digital money which is programmable will be used in the system to control, along with the chip. The chip is the way, the internet of bodies is the way of tying a person's biological and digital identity into the system. So, Lord willing, that was edifying, man. I'm gonna try and do some more research. The thing is, it's hard to get the right information you want nowadays, because these devils, man, they be locking off things, man, and making it hard to find the information you need. It used to be on YouTube, you can get everything, man. Everyone was talking about these things. Now, like, you gotta search through BitChute, and BitChute ain't even all that. But hopefully brothers understand what we mean when we're talking about these CBDCs. It's a central bank digital currency, but it's not a digital currency like the one you're already using, the one that's already in your bank account. It's programmable money. And how can they program it? They can program it to say how long it exists, where and when, and how you can spend it. And if that don't show you that that's part of the mark of the beast system, I don't know what else to say. Read Revelation 13 and 16 again. All right. So great millstone, it's just everything we've been saying is just unfolding because the Spirit is dealing with the apostles and the elders on down to just break down these prophecies and tell you like it is. Right? So get ready for more financial turmoil, more inflation and shortages and all these different things. And the solution that they're going to bring forward to the inflation and losing control over the money supply and all this, the solution that the Federal Reserve and these central banks are going to come up with is, look, we need to streamline and make the system more efficient. We're going to bring in a new system that we've been working on with the Cbdcs, and we're gonna fix everything for you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, you know. Just we're gonna flip it up, you know, and change it up for you. We've already done the research, and this is the best way to go, and people are gonna accept it. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.